All right, everybody, what is going on? Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's take a little bit of a deep breath. Last couple days have been pretty active, way more active than we usually get in June. So now that we have an opportunity to kind of step back and assess things, I want to talk about some stuff that I was intending to talk about over the last couple days, but didn't get the opportunity to because the news just kept flying. And hey, maybe something else happens today as well. Maybe by the time you're watching this video, something's already happened, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So I want to talk a little bit about the 2027 draft, where things sit right now for the Seahawks. And this does kind of play into a conversation that I've been opening up over the last couple days as well. So this does have something to do with the happenings of the last couple of days on some level, but I got this tweet up from Dan Viennes, and there have been several other people to tweet about this, but I'll just go ahead and look at his tweet. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. So, looking ahead to the 2027 draft, which we know is supposed to be a very, very good draft. That's what everybody says. We'll find out over the next couple of months if that is sizing up to be the case, and then we'll find out over the next few months after that if it holds up. Right now, it looks like the 2027 draft class is the real deal. So, with that in mind, this is the current draft compensation the Seahawks have after the Nolan Teasley hire. Now, real quick, before I get into the picks, it is my understanding that Aiden Dirty, if he gets hired as a head coach, that would not add a third round pick to this draft. If he gets hired as a head coach, you're looking at something like picks in the future. I think there's some rule about how the comp picks for coaches and front office people can't stack, but it doesn't seem like anybody knows for sure. I've seen a lot of speculation. So it's possible, I won't rule it out, that if Aiden Dirty gets hired by another team as head coach in the upcoming offseason, which I think is very likely, we do get another third round pick. But for now, let's say we don't, because my understanding is that we wouldn't. So looking at this, we've got a lot of draft capital. Now, a lot of it is focused in day 3, but we do have a bonus third round pick from the Nolan Teasley hire now, which is significant. Remember, a third round pick in this draft is going to mean a lot more than a third round pick in this year's draft because the draft is stronger and deeper. And then we've got 4 first round picks because of the free agent losses. We've got the 4th round pick that we traded away for Bo Stevens, basically replaced because of the Boye Mafe free agency loss. And then you've got an extra 7th because of the Michael Gerald trade last season. So there's a lot to work with here. So that's the main thing I want to get into here. For one, the Seahawks have extra draft capital to play with. They can trade one of their third round picks and still have a third round pick. They can trade a bunch of 5th round picks and still have a pick in the 5th round. Again, right now, 4 picks in the 5th round. So if you need to make a modest trade to make the team better, like what if the Giants get desperate and are willing to give up Kayvon Thibodeau for like a couple of 5th round picks? That might be worth it. And I'm not a big Kayvon Thibodeau fan, but that might give you at least a little bit of gas going into the season, and you can afford to give up the 5th round picks. You can get to the trade deadline and give up some of these day 3 picks, and it doesn't even really hurt you that much because of all the extra picks you have. So that's number 1. If you like sports, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using the Prize Picks app, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, and obviously we are now firmly into the NFL offseason, so we're all about baseball. We got some basketball, we got some hockey, whatever it is you like. Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. Definitely make sure to use the promo code HMA. Prize Picks is hooking up users with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. If you use that promo code, that is HMA. I've had a great time on Prize Picks so far, so definitely get on over to it. Check it out. and make sure to get your lineups. And don't forget about team picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So download the app now, use HMA, and get on over to Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. And even if you give up a high value pick, like your second round pick or even your first round pick, if you do trade those picks in a big trade, you still have draft capital that will allow you to do what you need to do in the 2027 draft. So that's one thing to consider here. Another thing to think about, and this is something that we're going to talk more about when we get actually to draft season, we're probably going to need to package some of these picks to trade up in the draft. Like, we could turn some of these 5th round picks into maybe a better 5th round pick. Maybe we could package one of the thirds with the second to move up in the second, because this is another thing to think about. And this is another reason why you might want to be a little bit aggressive going into this upcoming season when it comes to trades you could make. There's not really enough room on this roster for these picks to have a real chance of making the team. You got 12 picks, and 8 of them are in day 3. You've got the 4 5th round picks, and you've got the 2 7th round picks. What are the odds that 5th round picks and 7th round picks, even in a good draft, make this roster? This very solid, very complete, hard to crack roster, knowing that it's only 53 players. And if a player is covetable in any way, if he doesn't make the 53 man, you're probably not going to get him on the practice squad because other teams are going to snatch him up. Something that we've learned over the past several years does happen. Just because you drafted the player doesn't mean he's going to be able to make the practice squad. Like, if you go to Spotrac, and this is one consideration as well that I know people are going to bring up. There are a lot of upcoming free agents for the 2027 Seahawks, but we also need to take a look at who those free agents are and ask ourselves, are we actually going to replace that player? And if we do, what will it take to replace them? I made a video yesterday. Leonard Williams, good chance he gets extended. And if he gets extended and he actually plays next year, then that's not going to be something you need to think about. Now, you got Nwosu. Yeah, he's probably gone. I think Nwosu is probably out of here at the end of this season. We'll come back to that in a second here. Jason Myers could go either way. But even if you end up needing to replace Myers, he's a kicker. You don't need to spend a draft pick on a kicker. Plenty of good kickers come out of UDFA. And that will probably be the case in this class because the draft class is so good. Josh Jones is a backup. He's a good backup, but I don't think you're going to have to necessarily move heaven and earth to replace him. And if he doesn't play very much football this year, you might end up being able to keep him on a similar deal to the deal you have right now. Drew Lock is a backup. He's probably out of here and not even getting replaced because Milroe will probably be ready at that point. Right? Dante Fowler, okay, yeah, he's probably gone. It's probably a 1-year thing for Fowler. Igbenogany, I don't even think he's going to make the team this year anyway, so that doesn't really matter. Peely, he might not make the team either. Charbonnet, I don't know, but I think there's a good chance we end up bringing him back cheap because he'll be happy to get any kind of long-term security after what happened last year. Manuel Wilson, I mean, like these are not, we don't have what we had last year is what I'm trying to get at here. We don't have the Ken Walker, Kobe Bryant, Reek Woolen, Boye Mafe group of meaningful quality starters and contributors, and in some case, maybe even a little bit beyond that, that are going to be on their way out of the door this offseason. We've got guys that are replaceable or guys we're probably bringing back. You go down the list far enough, you're going to find some guys like Anthony Bradford. Anthony Bradford, if I had to guess, not coming back, although it depends on how he plays this year, but you might already have his replacement on the roster in Bo Stevens. Ty Okada is a restricted free agent. If he plays even decent football, he'll be brought back easily. No problem. Going to be very cheap. Same with, by the way, oh yeah, Jalen Sundell. He's an exclusive rights free agent. He's going to be the easiest get back you've ever seen in your life. He's trivial to bring back as long as you want him back. By the way, I brought up Josh Jones earlier. Amari Kite, a guy that we like, exclusive rights free agent, trivial to bring back, going to cost almost nothing. So you're looking at this list and you're like, okay, we're going to lose some players, right? Who are the players we're going to lose? And of those players we lose, who is going to need a significant investment to be replaced? There are two positions, right? You've got edge rusher and you've got running back, potentially, right? Because the other element at play here is that there are a couple players who might retire after this season, mostly DeMarcus Lawrence and Jaron Reed. I could see both those guys retiring. They have 2 years left on their deal right now, so maybe you end up having to replace those guys too. And Jaron Reed, okay, maybe it's Riley Mills, maybe it's not. Either way, I look at the edge rusher thing because, yeah, right now it looks like it's going to be Derek Hall and not much else. We know that rookie edge rushers rarely do stuff, right? Rookie edge rushers rarely hit the ground running. Something we've learned. The ones that do are usually the super blue chippers. And we're not going to get a super blue chipper with these picks, it doesn't look like. Find it hard to believe the Seahawks are going to be picking high in the first round. Even if you don't think they're going to be picking 32, which is reasonable. I don't know if you should ever go into a season expecting your team to pick 32. But even if they don't, I don't think you're going to get one of the superstar blue chippers at the top of the first. So I don't think you're going to be using draft picks to try to replace all those edge rushers. Maybe you do draft one, but you need to find a way to find a really good edge rusher that's a veteran that's ready to play now. You need to find kind of like what you found with Uchenna Nwosu from the Chargers 4 years ago. If you go back to 2022, that's the kind of player you need to find now. Somebody of that level, someone who is very good. Maybe he's not elite, but he's ready to play now. And Nwosu was ready to play now in 2022, and that's why that signing was so great. That's what you're looking for. Even the really good rookies that you could draft in the first round at edge, and there are going to be good players, they're not going to hit the ground and go out there and get you double-digit sacks as a rookie. Not realistic. And the running back thing, okay, there's a little bit going on there. You might need to do that. Maybe you need to draft a replacement for Jaron Reed. I could see that. But what then? What then? What are we talking about at that point, right? Like, you've got 12 picks. Number one, I think you'd be better off trading up and having fewer picks rather than drafting a bunch of guys that are very unlikely to make the team. And number two, you might be better off trading some picks to get some veteran players ready to help you now. Either by now, I mean in 2026 or 2027. So you put it all together, and this draft haul makes a very compelling argument for needing to make some trades both now and later. I don't think 12 rookies are going to have much of a chance of making the team next year, unless the roster gets completely ripped apart in ways that right now we can't foresee. Like maybe Leonard Williams does retire. Maybe we do end up needing to use a late draft pick to replace Jason Myers. Maybe we end up needing to draft some backups on the offensive line because Jones does leave and Amari Kite doesn't look good. And maybe we get rid of Christian Haynes. And, there is a pathway. But when you look at how good this roster is right now and how many of those good players are under contract for multiple years, and how many of these free agents are just kind of like filler-ish. Like, you don't need to spend a draft pick to replace Rodney Thomas or Chaz Surratt. You don't. I think you're better off having fewer picks, one way or the other, and using the picks you have for things that are more likely to make an impact. So if you could take like even all of your 5th round picks and package them together and move up into the 4th somehow, or package a 3rd with your 2nd to move up in the 2nd round, that might be something I'm into. But for the moment, since it's more compelling to us right now as Seahawks fans living in the moment, I would definitely be looking to send some of these picks either now or around the trade deadline to try to make this team better for now. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Maybe another video later today. Maybe not. Things have been moving quick lately. But let me know what you guys think. Remember, this is what we're sitting on right now. It's a lot of draft ammo. Gonna have to use it. And I don't want to end up spending half these picks on players that don't make the team because there's just no room for them. So I'm thinking about that stuff right now. All right. Go Hawks.